everyone. Thanks for joining us in the Navigate Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm Molly O'Brien. This is Kevin Killavey. Get that right?
You got that perfect.
Sweet. Okay, perfect. From Newport Vineyards. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so glad to be here.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. So we're talking rosé all day. Talk to us a little bit about the rosé all day phenomenon.
Well, it's this year alone. I just found out this fact out this morning. Rosé sales in America have gone up 53% nationwide, and for us, we were making 200 cases of this wine right here, which is our driest rosé. It's really delicious, and we're going to get to that in a second. We doubled it to 400 cases this year. We still are selling out this week. In fact, that's why we're having our farewell party on Wednesday. It is the median between the white wine people and the red wine people. Rosés are typically made from red grapes, like Pinot Noir, which was really popular after the movie Sideways, and also is just delicious. Is actually one of the main grape in this dry rosé. So that's a red grape. But it doesn't have the real heaviness that the red wine does. It's usually fermented in stainless steel, very little skin contact, which adds that kind of weird dry sensation. And done in the stainless steel means it's going to taste kind of fruity. So it's dry but complex, it's fruity, and it's got the red wine grapes, so it's got some of the nice health benefits as well from the skins, which are called tannins, and resveratrol, which is good for your heart. And it's cold, so it goes good in the summer.
So it just kind of, is it just kind of that blend of all good things coming together?
I think
like
it is.
White wine people like the cold, cool, crisp, and then the red wine people like kind of those health benefits and just that.
And the
like,
complexity.
The
There's still a lot of complexity.
So it's just kind of like is that what it is? Like
I think
everything
it is.
kind of merging together?
It's the magic merging of many different flavors into one beautiful drink that is rosé. And there's so many styles of rosé. In France, actually, rosé is now the #1 selling type of wine. It's just surpassed red wine for the first time ever. It took over white wine a while ago. So in France, they're even drinking this. And I think they know wine in France.
France knows what's up.
Yeah.
And so what has it been like at Newport Vineyards? Because things have just kind of kicked off with, it's just kind of taken off, I should say. Not
This wine in particular, we have 2 years ago, we completed our renovations on our major tasting room, and if you haven't been in a few years, definitely come. You have to go. Definitely check out our brand new tasting room. It's called the Meadow Room. It's a huge facility. It can hold weddings and special events, and we can do lovely tastings while you stare out at the vines or sit out on the porch having a glass of any of our rosés. With this wine in particular, like I said, it just took off so quickly. It's our best-selling wine by the glass right now, and I'm actually going to pour a little bit right now so we can see just why.
Like why it looks so pretty.
Yeah. So.
Best-selling wine by glass. How do you guys track that even?
So there are tastings, and the tastings are hard to keep track of. We do just count the empty bottles at night and say, we poured a lot of that wine. But with wine by the glass, you actually bring it in in the computer, glasses of wine, and that dry rosé line comes up a lot.
Wow.
And you just look at the lovely pale color on this. So the pale color tells you, like I said, very little skin contact. So skin contact is what's going to add all that color. All of the color from red wines and rosés comes from the juice staying in contact with the skin. So you dump the skins in, you just barely squeeze them. It's called a crush. You just squeeze them enough to burst the skin and start the juice to release. Then you put them in vats of any type. We have these big blue bins and also stainless steel tanks. And you let them sit for a while. With rosé, it's a short period of time. It's usually less than a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a very short period of time. Sometimes they'll harvest the grapes at night and press out the juice the next morning. So that juice just spent a little bit of time. And then you squeeze all the grapes, get all that juice out. You got a tinge of color. And then you age just the juice, which is now turning into wine, for a couple of months before you bought it. Rosés actually can be done very quickly.
Wow.
I'm glad because we're about to sell out of this. And hopefully we'll be back in the slow season, January, and I'll be able to drink plenty of it.
So I was gonna say, how fast is this from? This is from 2016.
2016.
So you're
using,
it's
just last year's grapes.
So you use 2016 grapes.
Yeah. So anytime.
Move it to 2017 grapes for potentially you could even do 2017 then.
Unlikely, but it's
January,
within it's within the realm of possibility. So the Pinot Noir is the main grape in here, and that is one of the first we harvest. And we start our harvest usually around late September, early October.
Okay. So.
But 3 months in that time period, you're getting into the maybe. It would be lovely to have a glass of rosé with Christmas.
That's pretty fast though.
Yeah, it's very fast. Rosés are fast, but the demand is so high that they're just flying off the shelf. So I'm gonna say, let's take a sip of this. This is gonna be dry. There's no residual sugar. So what residual sugar is just the leftover sweetness, because grapes are great. They have a lot of sugar and they have a lot of different acids, and the acids are what add that like kind of pop and make the flavors like explode in your mouth. And that's why I think wine grapes are the best for wine. Although you can make wine out of other fruits, they just lack those other complexities. So let's give it a. You can do the swirl. All the swirl does is help the beautiful aromas travel upwards. So air kind of makes what I call a smell tornado, or a tornado of aroma, and moves up towards your nose so you can get more of the complexities, like the perfumey smells. Like this does smell a little bit like flowers.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of rose petal notes. I like doing it on the table because I can do it fast. Fancy. But what it's really doing is mixing air in with the wine. And air in wine is what's either allowing it to breathe if it's a big bold red, and that's kind of breaking down some of the aromas that might have built up in a red wine over time, some of the less pleasant aromas. And with this, it's just going to move those pleasant aromas up is really what it is. So, cheers, Mom.
Cheers. Okay, let's try this out.
Oh,
Yep.
I've missed you.
Yep, that's good. I like it that it's dry.
Yeah, that's a definitely nice dry rosé.
It hits your tongue and goes, wee!
Yeah, it explodes with flavor. Has a dry finish, dry beginning, and great complexities. So they're in this skinny little bottle, which is a sort of Alsatian style. We make a lot of Alsatian style wines at the winery. If you're ever
Alsatian?
Alsatian.
What does that mean?
So Alsace.
Is that bad? I don't know what that means.
That's all right. There's a lot. Wine is complicated. I don't know if you're doing. That's why we do daily tours. We do tours every Sunday through Friday at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock, and every Saturday from 11 to 4. And you could just come down and just do a tour, and then hang out and have a glass of wine, or you can come and do a tasting. So with Alsatian wines, our winemaker George learned how to make wine in Germany when he was in the army. And there is a lot of Rieslings in Germany and a grape called Gewürztraminer. And there's also a lot of those grapes in a part of France that borders Germany called Alsace, Alsatian, Alsace. So it's in that style. So he loves that style of winemaking, and so he makes a lot of wines like that. So we have a lot of these bottles in our whites and a couple of them for our rosés. It's all stylistic thing as to why there's different types of bottles, but it's
okay.
in that
That's
region.
why it's in them.
That bottle just became popular in that reason. It all goes back to some complicated stuff with monks in the 1400s, but that's super complicated. So the thing is about our rosé, we're having a farewell party on Wednesday. It's Wednesday night from 6 to 8, and the cool thing is delicious desserts.
It's so fun.
Yeah, delicious desserts is going to be bringing cupcakes to pair with wine, which is amazing. The best thing I ever had when I was in New York City was I had a wine paired with a cupcake, and we're going to do that for you Wednesday night. You got to make sure to visit newportvineyards.com and reserve tickets and get yourself in to get those cupcakes. And if you also want dinner later, our restaurant Bricks, which if you've never been to, we have a new chef, Andy.
He's amazing.
He is absolutely fantastic. He buys everything locally. Everything's farm to table. He goes out to the farmers markets, buys those ingredients, makes everything fresh and seasonal. And we're going to be doing rosé flights upstairs. And you can get all 3 of our rosés and our guest rosé from Wolfer Estate called Summer in a Bottle. Which
that's fun.
Yeah, so you get 4 different rosés to try, so a really vast spectrum. Speaking of which, I didn't bring anything to dump this with, so I'm going to have to drink this.
You're just going to have to drink it. It's fine.
I'm going to have to drink it. We do have another rosé.
Okay, so this is the dry rosé.
This is the dry rosé, but our next driest is called White Merlot.
Okay.
And White Merlot is absolutely a delicious wine, and it's a great
I've had this at your place, and it's really good.
It's really beautiful. So I'm going to... This is a professional.
This is a professional. This is just what you have to do.
This is
when
what you have to do.
You work in a vineyard sometimes when you can't find the dump bucket, right? Or you're on a show. I do have a question when it comes to like a dry rosé as you're pouring this. What would if you're having dinner or you're making dinner or you're going out to eat and you want a glass of rosé? What would you order to eat to go well with this?
So what I love with rosés is anything with funky cheeses. So that's if you're just doing a cheese pairing, goat cheese or blue cheese is absolutely amazing with rosé. Because the cool thing about rosé is there's a little bit of what we call earthiness in it, and it's usually like just a funk. It's weird to describe. I say sometimes it tastes like black tea. Some people say like a mushroomy character. Pinot Noir specifically has that kind of mushroomy flavor. And that'll kind of mute those funky flavors in goat cheese. And it'll kind of mute the funky flavors in blue cheese. And what will happen is more of the fruity flavors will get opened up as well. So basically the funks in the goat cheese and the blue cheese get balanced by the funk, by that, and then you open up to all the fruitiness. So the rosés will taste fruitier and brighter with goat cheese and blue cheese specifically. And then I love it like a fresh summer salad with like chicken with a glass of rosé because that's a kind of meal you can eat and have it feel light, sit outside.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Absolutely enjoy.
I feel like a lot of people are just having a couple glasses and then you forget, I probably should eat something. Yeah. And then you're thinking like, what do I want with this beautiful wine? What pairs well? It's like,
you can do a pizza with blue cheese on it. Would be absolutely delicious. Gorgonzola, red onions, pound a bottle would be wonderful.
Yeah,
I mean drink responsibly is what I
Yes, please drink responsibly.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is White Merlot. Look at the crazy color on this.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, so we make a lot of Merlot.
Yeah, and look at the difference in those too, right?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to. So Which one do you think spent more time in contact with the skins?
This one.
Yeah, a little bit more, and also.
I win!
Yay! Woo! This one is Merlot, so it's a Merlot grape. Merlot actually gets a little tiny bit darker than the Pinot Noir grape. That is the main grape in there. So the skins, to begin with, have that color saturation already, and all those complexities of flavor. So this one is gonna smell totally different too. I think it smells.
Oh yeah, it does. It smells more like red.
Yeah, it's
like
exactly.
Red.
You're getting it because of that longer extraction of the colors or the tannins. And it's got a little bit of residual sugar. So if you've ever wondered how wine happens, I once had a lady ask me, and no shot against her, how many grapes do you have to eat to get intoxicated? And that's not how it works. There is a lot.
How many glasses of wine had she had before she asked that question?
I don't think she'd had any yet.
But okay.
It's okay. It's complicated. Wine's complicated. There's so much to it. So we take the juice, we press it out. We maybe leave the skins on for a little while, a couple hours more with this guy right here. And then during that process, you're going to usually add yeast. It's the same thing breweries do. They add what's called winemaking or brewer's yeast. It goes to town and starts eating. What I do is I like the little
Pac-Man?
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man / sock puppet. Yeah, I like that too.
And he starts eating all the sugar and converting it into three things: alcohol, carbon dioxide, and heat. You try and keep the heat under control, which is why our big stainless steel tanks have cooling jackets. Carbon dioxide, if you wanted to make a bubbly wine, you could trap it. Most times when you're making, bubbly's good. We do have a brut sparkling as well.
It's really good.
It's very good, but usually you let it get released when you're making a still wine, and then you can ferment it all out, and that's probably going to be a red, where it's fuller body and it has a little bit more alcohol. Or if it's a rosé, you're going to maybe stop fermentation a little earlier. If it's a white or a rosé, and we can do that by lowering the temperature, and it kind of kills the yeast and stops fermentation. But this one is available as well to taste. For the foreseeable future, we have plenty of white Merlot, and we also make, if you like the super sweet, if you got a friend who maybe likes the white Zinfandel, like Beringer White Zin, which no shot against that at all, we have our Bellevue Blush as well, which is super delicious and very sweet. But
kind of like desserty?
It's moving in that direction.
Okay.
Yeah, we make a dessert wine.
Not quite that far.
No, we make 2 dessert wines that are in the far
side. And they're good.
Yeah, ice wine, which is crazy cool.
Oh,
We leave that to actually freeze. As the grapes freeze, all the sugar wants to go somewhere, so it pulls to the center as the outside freezes. You press it you harvest it by hand. That one stinks when you have to harvest it early in the morning while it's frozen. Sorry, George and Michael. Those are our 2 winemakers. By the way, we make our production right now is at almost 20,000 cases of wine. We got about 65 acres of vines. Which you feel free to come down, do a tasting, and check out.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
And our owners, John and Paul, are very hands-on as well. But as far as the winemaking day-to-day, it's just George and his assistant, Michael. They do an amazing job. They're the hardest working guys I've ever met in my life.
So this is the one,
That's
the dry rosé, this is the one that's going by for now, because you've essentially sold out. And then this one's available pretty much all the time, right?
This one is available through most of the year just because of how much Merlot we're able to produce. We grow a lot of it, grows really well in the area. And so we make that one to last. And this is right in the middle. And it is going to be a little bit sweet, so like medium sweet. But usually works best for everybody. It's not too sweet, not too dry.
It's right down the middle.
Right down that middle.
That's very exciting. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for teaching us. And of course, you have gear. So if you're interested, and if you've just been part of the Rosé All Day phenomena, you have all the fun goodies. You have shirts. You have all kinds of good stuff. And the farewell party is Wednesday. So head on down. They have live music with Brianna White. Wine and beer flights, you have the cupcake pairing, and now so that's very exciting. So thanks so much for teaching us. If you haven't tried rosé, you better go down and get some before it's all gone. Not too much left, and be part of it all. So thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.